Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com. Today we're going to be learning Canon in D, and the one difference for our uke arrangement is that we're going to be playing it in the key of C. And the reason why is it just falls easier in C for this instrument to play. So with that said, I want you to think of this song like this. It's 4 bars, and in those 4 bars we have 5 chords. So those 4 bars are going to just continually repeat and repeat. So what I've done is every 4 bars I've labeled as melody 1. So the next 4 bars would be melody 2. The next 4 bars would be melody 3. And so on. We're going all the way to 8 melodies for this arrangement. So each of these melodies is a variation from the other. So that's what makes this song cool, is that it's the same chord progression over and over and over, but the variations make it a lot of fun to play, and there's different melodies that are introduced throughout these variations. So in this lesson, which is part 1, we're going to be learning melody 1, 2, and 3. And if you guys want to learn the rest of the tune, so that's going to be melody 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, we can learn that in part 2 of the lesson, which is available at rockclass101.com. And you guys can also get the complete tabs as a PDF to print out and follow along with, as well as access to the on-screen tab viewer, which literally lets you hit play with this YouTube performance. You can slow it down to whatever speed you want, and you can watch the tab scroll across in real time while you watch me play. So it's a real cool asset for learning this tune that much quicker. So all of that is available at rockclass101.com. So let's kick into our lesson for today, so part 1. So let's go ahead and look at melody 1, and remember melody 1 is just 4 bars. So I'll go ahead and play it all the way throughout, and then we'll break it down. So here's melody 1. Okay, so the first thing we notice is that it is straight eighth notes throughout. Most of this song is going to be straight eighth notes till we get to the end when we have a 16th note, when it gets into the quicker section. So keep that in mind when you're thinking of it. It's just in 4/4, so we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So just straight eighth notes throughout. So here is bar 1, and the first chord we're doing is just a C chord. Basically, think of a G chord, right? If we made a G and we moved it up a whole step, it becomes A, up another whole step, it becomes B, and then up a half step, it becomes C. So we literally just took a G chord and moved it up the neck until it became a C. So our first chord shape, we're going to use our middle finger on 8 on string 2, and then your index finger on 7 on string 1. So you're going to pluck strings 2 and 1. Okay? After that, we're going to hit string 4 open, and then play string 2 and string 1. So an approach you can use for your right hand for this is a 3-finger approach. So I'm going to use my thumb first and second. So I'm going to pluck strings 1 and 2 with these fingers. And then for string 4, I can use my thumb, and then back to string 2, I can use index, and then string 1, I can use middle. So I have pluck, 4, 2, 1. Okay? So again. Okay, the next one we're going to a G. So take that index finger, move it down to 5 on string 1, add your ring finger to 7 on string 2. You're going to pluck those 2 strings again, and then we're going to play 4, 2, 1. So now we have so it's basically the same pattern with the right hand. Pluck, 4, 2, 1, pluck, 4, 2, 1. The difference is that the first one is a C to a G. Okay, so there's bar 1. Bar 2, we're going to take this same shape, move it down a whole step. Now you're on 5 and 3, and we're going to add our middle finger to the 4th fret of string 3. So again, we pluck string 1 and 2. Now we're going to hit 3, 2, 1. Okay, so pluck, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to go down a half step with our index finger, So that's 2 on string 1, and then add your middle finger to 3 on string 2. So now we're going to pluck those 2, and then add our ring finger back to the 4th fret on string 3. So we should be familiar with this chord. This one's just an E minor. So for bar 2, we started with an A minor. So again, we have fingering of middle finger is 4 on string 3, our ring finger is 5 on string 2, and our index is 3 on string 1. Again, this is an A minor, so we pluck 1 and 2, then we hit 3, 2, 1, then down a half step, we're going to make an E minor chord. We pluck 1 and 2, and then we pick 3, 2, 1. So bar 2 by itself. Cool. So bar 1 and 2, now we have okay. So now we're on to bar 3. So now we're going F, and we can basically, if you make a full F chord shape, we can get rid of that middle finger. So we only have first finger on the 1st fret of string 2. So again, we're going to pluck 1 and 2, and then the open 3rd, 2nd string, 1st string. From there, we're going to a C, right? But again, we're just going to pluck 1 and 2, and then hit string 2 open, string 4 open, and then string 1. So we have plucking for the F, 3, 2, 1, plucking for the C, 2, 4, 3. So a little switch up in our finger picking for the C part. Okay, slower. Okay, now for bar 4, we're back to F, the same thing. And then into a G, and you can make a basic G chord. So I'm plucking 1 and 2, and then going 3, 2, 1. So here is F and G, so bar 4 one more time. Okay, so bar 3 and 4 together we have Alright, so that gives us our first melody. Let's go ahead and play it all the way through. So bars 1 through 4. Here's what it sounds like. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to melody 2. And remember, all of these melodies are the same 4-bar phrase. So each melody is only 4 bars and it covers 5 chords. So you can see that we have 2 chords per bar, right? So our chord progression for the song is just going C, G, A minor, E minor, F, C, F, G. Right? So that covers all 4 bars. So let me go ahead and play melody 2 for you guys now, and then we'll break it down. So what we can hear from the difference in melody 1 and 2 is that 2, we start to kind of build it up a little bit, right? We've got strumming a full chord this time instead of just plucking a partial chord. So it just gives it a fuller sound and starts to build the tune. And that's one thing that's always caught my ear with Canon, is that as it progresses, it starts to really, really build. And that just gives it a nice flowing sound, right? So let's go ahead and break melody 2 down. So our first chord, again, we're just playing a C. This is a variation on C. We're just going to use our pinky on 7th fret of string 1. We're going to strum that full chord. So the rest are open. So from there, after I strum, I'm going to hit string 3, string 4, and then use my index finger to go back to 3 on string 1. So I have strum, 3, 4, 3, 3 on 1. Okay, from there I'm going into a G, but it's a G5. It's going to be a stretch chord. If you make a regular G, lift your ring finger up, replace that with your middle finger, and then add your pinky to 5 on string 1. Now we have a G5. We're going to strum this, then hit the open 4, and I want you to lay your index finger flat, so it's like a partial bar. So now you're barred on 2, fret 2 for strings 3, 2, and 1. So the reason we're doing that is because we're going to hit string 1, which is the 2nd fret, barred for string 1. So again, I have G5, then open 4, then lay it flat, hit string 1, which is the 2nd fret, and then back to open 4. Okay, so from C I have strum, 3, 4, 1, G5, 4, 1, 4, and again. Okay, so now bar 2, we're going back to that same A minor chord that we had done earlier. So it was the middle finger on 4 on string 3, ring finger on 5 on string 2, and index on 3 on string 1. This time we're going to hit the open 4 as well with that, so it's really an A minor 7. So we're going to strum that chord, and then we're going to pick 3, 2, 1, and then go to basic E minor. You're going to strum that, pick 3, 2, 3. So we have A minor 7, 3, 2, 1, E minor, 3, 2, 3. Okay, one more time without me calling it. Okay, so there's bar 2. So from bar 1 and 2 put together we have Okay, so now bar 3 for the second melody, we're going back to F. This time we're going to do the full F chord, just that basic F. And I'm going to go ahead and just strum it and play 3, 2, 1. So strum, 3, 2, 1, and then go to C chord, and we're going to strum 3, 2, 3. So it's the same right hand pattern as bar 2, just different chords for bar 3, right? So again, I have F, 3, 2, 1, C, 3, 2, 3. So without me calling it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and play it from the beginning now with bar 1, 2, and 3. Good. So now we have F for bar 4, same thing, strum 3, 2, 1 into G, regular G. Same thing, 3, 2, 1. So again, bar 4, F, G. Okay, so now everything, bars 1 through 4 for melody 2. Okay, so now we've got melody 1 and 2 all put together. So that gives us 8 bars into the song. So melody 3, again, we have a 4-bar section and same chords, guys, throughout this whole song. But melody 3 is when we start to add a few different voicings of these chords. So what that means is kind of like how we brought up the first chord of the song, right? We all know a basic C is this. Right, but we have a variation. We could play a C up here too, right? This is the G chord shape of a C, just moved higher. So that's all voicings is that we can take all these chords and we can play it in different spots on the neck, which gives us a different sound, which makes it more interesting instead of always going, I'm only gonna play C like this, right? It gets a little stale after a while. So melody 3 is when we start to see some of these different voicings being used. So let me go ahead and play all 4 bars from melody 3, and then we'll go ahead and break it down. So here it is. Okay, so this one starts with a basic C. So we're just going to use our index finger for that basic C. We're going to strum it, hit the open 4, add your pinky to 7 on 1, and then hit the open 4 again. So there's the first half. Okay, now we've got that change for G. So we've got a different voicing for G. If you're following with the tab, I labeled it as G2. So lay your index finger flat on the 7th fret, strings 1, 2, and 3. Our 4th string will be open, and we add our pinky to 10 on string 1. So we're going to strum all 4, and then hit the open 4. And here's the tricky part. You're going to move your pinky up to 10 on string 2, and then add your middle finger to 8 on string 1. So I have strum 4, move the pinky up to 10 on 2, and then middle finger 8 on 1. So again. Okay, so that bar put together. Okay, so it's got a nice bounce of the open 4 as we walk up through that. So there's bar 1. So bar 2 will sound like this, and then we'll break it down. So basically we have that E minor chord, right? And we have it moved all the way up to fret 9, 8, 7, so strings 3, 2, and 1. Our 4th string will be open, and this is just a, when we move it up, this is a A minor chord. So again, if you're following with the tab, I labeled it as A minor 2. So we're going to strum all 4, then we're going to pick 3, 2, 3. Okay, again. Okay, from there we've got a bit of a stretch. We have middle finger on 4 on string 3, index on 3 on string 2, and our pinky on 7 on string 1. And for this one too, we can have the 4th string open. So this is a variation on E minor. Alright, so I'm going to strum all 4, then hit string 3, and then I'm going to lift my pinky up and put my ring down on 5 on string 1. And I'm going to pluck string 1 and 2. So I have strum, 3, pluck. Okay, so from A minor we have. Okay, so one way to practice is just to go from that chord to this chord. So from this A minor to this E minor. That way you can just practice the muscle memory to get those shapes down. So one more time. Okay, so let's go ahead and play bars 1 and 2 for melody 3. Alright, so let's look at the 3rd bar for melody 3. So now we're going into an F. So go ahead and make a basic F, but with one difference. We're going to add our pinky to the 3rd fret of string 1. So I'm going to strum all 4, hit string 3, lift my pinky up, and pluck string 1 and 2. And then hit string 3 again. So I have strum, 3, lift up and pluck, and then open 3. Okay, one more time. After that, I'm going to a basic C. And from this basic C, I'm going to strum, and then play 2, 4, 2. So bar 3 I have. Cool, and you can even use your pinky. You can keep that pinky there because bar 4 goes back to that same F with that pinky added. So you can just use the pinky for that one, keep that finger there. So bar 4 we're going to strum, then we're going to play string 2, open 1, and then 2 again. So strum 2, open 1, 2. And then from there, we're going into a G sus. So think of a basic G, but add your pinky to the 3rd fret of string 1. And we're going to strum, and then hit 3, lift that pinky up, and pluck the bottom 2. So we have strum, 3, lift it up, and pluck. Right, so bar 4 is... Okay, bar 3 and 4 sounds like this. Okay, and if I play melody 3, bars 1 through 4 all the way throughout, this is what we get. Okay guys, so there is melody 1, 2, and 3 for this arrangement of Canon, and basically one thing to keep in mind is it does get a little tricky, but it is a slow tune, right? So that is one thing that plays in favor. It's not a quick song, but as we keep progressing, you start to notice that from melody 1, it was pretty simple, but then it starts to get a little bit harder as we go along. But keep in mind that slow speed plays in our favor. It's not supposed to be fast at all. So this is a great tune for working on learning chords throughout the neck and really creating a movement, which is really nice, instead of always staying down here at the beginning of the neck. So if you guys want to learn the rest of the arrangement, which is melody 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, that's going to be in part 2 of the video lesson at rockclass101.com. You can also get the tabs to follow along with, so you can print those off. They're a PDF file, and you can get access to the on-screen tab viewer, which literally lets you hit play with this video performance, or you can listen to just the audio of me playing, and you can slow it down to whatever speed you want. You can highlight bars to loop it. You could highlight 1 bar, half of a bar, 4 bars at a time. It's whatever you want. And it's just a real cool asset for learning this song that much quicker. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.